What is the Matrix?
Good question. I guess some Americans call it the deep state, but I like to look at it in a more global way. When I say the Matrix, I think there are certain agendas which are being pushed. I think the media machine and the judicial systems of the world work together hand in hand. I think the goal is to control people's minds to a point where they don't discuss anything that's important. The reason I use the Matrix is because I've watched that movie a few times and it has so many similarities to the... Have you seen the movie?
No.
You've never seen the movie The Matrix?
No, I don't watch any movie. I don't want to talk about it on camera. No, I'm very dyslexic and it's hard for me to watch video.
Got it.
Honestly.
Understood. But there's so many similarities, and the basic premise is that humans' minds are controlled and put inside of a false reality so that their body heat can be manifested for the machines. And I don't think it's much different to reality. Our minds are controlled, we're put in a false version of reality, we're told things aren't true, we're arguing over things that don't matter, we're observing a false version of events, and the goal of it is just to distract us long enough for our bodies to be used for the machines, the soulless. And I think it's pretty similar, striking similarities. And even then, there's a bunch of other similarities which are difficult for me to explain. You haven't watched the movie, but there are agents inside of the Matrix, and the idea of the agent, the purpose of the agent is to make sure that nobody understands how the Matrix really works and to wake anybody's mind up. They want to keep you asleep. And any person can become an agent at any time. If they're not unplugged, if their mind is not free, they can become an agent, and their job is to keep you asleep. And you see agents all the time. COVID awoken me to agents. When I would sit and talk to somebody and they seemed perfectly rational and normal until I mentioned COVID, and then they'd fully change. No, it's dangerous. No, what do you mean? What do you mean? Are you crazy? My grandma got sick. And they became an agent instantly and started repeating the news to me. And I was like, your grandma got sick. How old is she? 97? Interesting. Oh, I better lock myself in my house then. Dumbass. So agents exist and the Matrix exists, and I think most people's version of the world is a false one. The idea and the world that most people have in their mind and how society functions and how all these things function, I genuinely believe is completely false. I think they've all been lied to. I don't think anybody understands how any of the world works. And I try and use some very simple, very simple analogies to wake people up. I said to one of my friends once, I said, if me and you could play video games for $10,000 and you could cheat, would you cheat? He goes, well, no. I was like, if I was whooping your ass and it was 10 grand a game and you could cheat, would you cheat? He goes, yeah. I was like, all right, so you accept that people cheat to win in a video game for a menial amount of money. You think they're not going to cheat for something that matters?
Yeah. I think
they're not going to cheat for something important? You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
how about to get the most important job in the world, President of the United States?
I would never kill myself.
I mean, people kill each other over insurance fraud. You don't think, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So when you actually understand how the world really works, what was really interesting? I remember there was this big military coup in, was it Myanmar or Burma? One of these, there was a big military coup like a year ago or something. And nobody really cared. They mentioned it on the news a little bit. And I looked at it and I looked into it. And they were talking about how the two political parties were almost 50-50. And then in the 90s, something changed. And now one political party just smokes the other one. And the military took over to restore democracy and all this stuff. It was very interesting, the voting machines they used. Really interesting, something to look into.